let's go down to 12 stocks that we usually go over in the weekly blog. If you're not signing up for the weekly blog, the weekly blog's free. I go over the levels that we're going to go over in the video, but I also post a picture. I post the upside levels, downside levels with targets, highlight everything. So make sure to check that out. Link will be in the description below. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. And let's start off with ES, and then we'll go down the list. So, ES, here we are. Had a pretty good week at the week with our Rangers. And let me just annotate start. So for starting, we had this weekly POC that I mentioned that we got to keep an eye on right here, 38.58. We dipped ever so slightly below it, but was able to pull right back up above it. So that's okay. Now we got to really get back above 39.10. Got this 1 hour POC here at 39.57 and this another weekly POC right here at that 39.80 zone. So definitely going to be key to watch. It could get a little hairy and choppy in here that I mentioned last week. See, it gets choppy every time we're in between this weekly POC and this previous weekly POC. So definitely could be choppy. Make sure to keep an eye on that. Over that, we can see 40.07. Definitely key to break and hold above that. Got a little bit of choppiness in this range, ever so, not so much, but be definitely quite an extent to get all the way back up here. 40.07 to the 40.73 range be the next zone to look for. Over that, you have 41.14. And then look where 41.14 is. I mean, it was previous support before. Previous support. It was resistance, then it became support. So just watch that. Over that, you got the weekly POC, previous resistance. Then we were able to break out into that favorite range of 41.65 to 41.90. That's right where things get a little hairy. So those are the upside and downside targets for ES. Next, let's go over SPY. Let's see if it loads. Okay. So SPY, of course, we had that gap down. Further downside, if we have some, will be 380.74. That's where we double bottomed right here before we ripped up. However, if we can just go straight up and close this gap, I'd like to see the gap closed, and then us to also hold back over 389, which is where we previously bounced from. Over that, you got the weekly POC 392. Through that, a little choppiness, but really want to see that push to 398 zone, where we need to definitely start basing out and hold. Over that 401 major level. Make sure you note it. For further upside, got a light level here at 406, and then another light level at 410. 410, a little choppy, not too much, but that's what I'm thinking. However, if we do dive, you got 378 to the downside. Really not much support until we get right back into this 372 zone. Below that, 367 all day of the week, and then we can see further down. So make sure to just note that. We're going to go over NQ now. NQ actually had a very good week with our levels, which was nice to see. Now, if they just load, we had that weekly POC that provided resistance right here at the 12.268 zone, which was beautiful. And then another POC from 2 weeks ago. We were able to wick above it, but just couldn't hold. And that was at the 12.311 zone. Through that, if we can push up, got a light level here at 12.500. It's 12.473 to be exact. Over that, another light level, which was previous resistance, overshoot, but then gapped up at 12.594. Through that, this is where the next zone is going to be choppy. Anything in between here, between 12.818 and that weekly POC at 12.923. It's going to just be another choppy zone to watch. Right around here. Let me just highlight this a little bit better so you can see. Downside wise, once we give up, we're already 11.742, which is previous support before we had this little inverse head and shoulder and ripped. Below that, if we break this, we will definitely see probably 11,483, and 11,641. 11,641 is a light level. I'd rather see 11,483 tested, but definitely going to be key that if we can hold above this weekly POC at 11,903, which was where we bounced before, definitely would be nice to see that, and just see if this was an overshoot that we had. Let's go now to the tech stocks. We're going to go over, actually let's go over QQQ real quick before we go into Apple and Microsoft, AMD and NVIDIA. QQQ, pretty good week with respect to the levels. Weekly POC right there. We have this week's POC at 294.21, which was resistance on that little push up that we tried to do. However, first order of business is we got to get back over this weekly POC at 289 and hold. This is where we bounced originally, so note that 289.37. Below that, you got a light level at 283. Rather see 280.26 tested and the weekly POC at 276.11 tested. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. Upside, we got 296, definitely resistance to watch. Got a light level here for the previous weekly POC, which is at 299. Didn't mark it because it's so close to this other weekly POC right here, which provided more resistance than that one, which is 306. Low overshoot, but that overshoot came right to this other previously weekly POC at 302. So definitely a little tricky, a little choppy. Not very choppy, but there's definitely levels to know here for your resistance being 300, 302, 01. Over that, you definitely got another heavy level of resistance that we gapped over, 307, resistance, resistance. Then we're pretty much up in no man's land here. I mean, really, if we somehow manage to get all the way back up here, when we do, the levels to be watching are going to be that 312 zone to be definitely noting, which we bounced off of. That's QQQ. Let's go over Apple. Apple, pretty decent. We have, let me show you. You got the resistance from this weekly POC all the way from weeks ago at 157, 156 zone. Below that, we have the weekly POC for this week at 154.19, which was a level we had, which is pretty funny how it lined up to be the weekly POC. We also rejected that on the little push up that we tried to have to reclaim, but we couldn't. It was a look above a fail. Below though, so where we are currently sitting, we need to get above 151. 151 is a massive level. 151.42 is a massive level. If we can get over that, yeah, we can possibly push back up and retest the 154.19. And it's either going to be a double top, or we're just going to push right through it. Downside, we see 147.6, definitely first key level. Oh, that you got the weekly POC, 145.93. And then here are two levels I really want to note, 143 and the 142. See, we bounced here and we bounced here. Definitely two levels to note, because this previous bounce, where we bounced right here, was also resistance. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Overshoot, but we bounced. So, if all fails and we dive, and we actually just crater, 137.59 to the downside is a very light level. More likely would see 135 and 134 where we actually bounced. I like to note off all the weekly POCs just to have an idea of where they're at. Sometimes they're respected very well, sometimes they're not. Next, let's go over Microsoft. See, here's a perfect example. Weekly POC, and that's where we came right up to. And we also actually bounced off of it originally. Bounce, and then went through it. And now we're testing it again. So that's where I like to, that's why I note them all always off. Upside, you got 250, big psychological level. We can break and hold above that. We can possibly see 253, and then 256. Downside though, you got 241. If that breaks and this isn't a double bottom, we're gonna head down. We'll see 238. And let me just actually show you further down what we got. We got 231, 229, 227 as further downside levels. All this has been posted in the blog, so you don't have to try to screenshot and race around. Let's go over now chips, AMD and NVIDIA. AMD, another decent week with respect to the levels. We had a weekly POC here. So, however, so let me just show you an example, guys. I always check the 30-minute and the 1 hour, because when I'm looking back, see right here, this is as far as I can look back on a 30-minute chart. I have 30 minutes set to 90 days. I think I can go to 180 days, right? Okay, so I can go up to 180 days. But if I need to really push back, see how when I change that to the 30-minute, that POC moved? 30-minute on the 180-day versus the 90-day. You sometimes got to double check your levels. Sometimes mark both off. Really depends. So let me just put this back. So see, we have a weekly POC, double bottomed, ripped. Definitely key level to note. If we can hold that, we got to reclaim the 7706 level. Definitely get above 78, 73. If you can see, we struggled a little bit to get back over that. 8103 light level. Then we can push back up to 84.48, another light level, and then you got resistance at 85.92. Downside 72.54, and then 69.74. And if we actually dive, I have another 66.86. My apologies, as another further downside level, with some other ones that are all posted in the blog. So that way you don't have to write all of them down right now. Next, let's go over NVIDIA. Video held up very nice off of the 126.3, a little overshoot to 0.17, but zone. Remember, these levels don't have to be exact on the penny. It's within the zone, I like to always note. So watch out, price action, candle wick versus candle body close, always key. Upside, you got 135.04 light level, definitely resistance at 140.03, and then another level at 144.65 as resistance, where we previously bounced. Previous support could become resistance, which we were seeing right here happen. Another 148.75 that we gapped right through. And then you got a weekly, a POC here, as well as another level that we have at the 152.44 to 153.05 zone. So note that weekly POC here, we bounced, then came right through, so it could be also resistance at 158.09. Downside 173. If we break and hold, get a full candle body close, and we just give up this level completely, we'll see 122.98 and then 116.93. Let's go over the last three. We have Amazon, Google, and Tesla to top it off, and that is it for the video. I'll be hosting a live stream this weekend as well, so make sure you join the Discord so you know exactly what time. Most likely will be on a Sunday night. I like to do my weekend prep, besides doing the blog, which also helps out a lot. So here we go. Let me do this. Whoops. There we go. Okay, so where we currently are sitting, a little bit looks like a rising wedge, honestly, right here. A rising wedge, and we all know what happens with that. You come down. But if we really do push up, and if we don't reject this zone of the 123.33 zone, and if it is a rising, if we reject the 123 zone as a rising wedge and come down, we will see 118.06, which was previous support, and then below that, it's not much until 113.01. To 113.81, my apologies. Below that, you got 111.92, light level, weekly POC, 110, and then possible support again at 108. Upside, if we push, and this doesn't turn out to be a rising wedge, we will see 125 tested, where we bounced ever so slightly, and then light level here, 128. You got the weekly POC at 127, then 129.07, and then you definitely got some resistance here, overhead at 130.58. Could see an overshoot, but make sure you get a candle body close confirmation. You can also play the retest confirmation where we break out above, retest that level, and then go higher. Those are the favorite types that I like to play. Over that, 133, and then definitely resistance again at 136.37. Google, very interesting. So let's go over this. Google, if we break and hold below this 101, Again, see 101.84. We will see 99.52 and then 97.13. Upside, you got 104.12, which is resistance. We had that level marked off, which was previous support. Now became resistance. You got 105.01, which is resistance as well, which is right near the weekly POC. And then you have 105.81, another light level, and then 107.09. If we already pushed, you got the weekly POC sitting up here at 108.07, 108 zone. Through that, heavy resistance we're going to be running into back up overhead at 110.31. You can just see. So, last one without further ado, Tesla, the one that everyone's talking about. A lot of people were overly bullish on this on Friday. Don't know why. I posted the levels, told everyone watch out for the 309. Yeah, if we get over 309, you got 313. But I saw people calling crazy numbers like 318, 320s, 325s that people were very bullish on. I mean, the technicals just weren't there for it. I mean, if you look at the levels, it's pretty clear as day. There's definitely resistance overhead. So I don't know. Let's go over it. Show them what they're missing out. So you got 309.54, which we had these overshoots, overshoot, resistance, a little bit of an overshoot, resistance again, and then resistance as well. 309.54. Through that, you got 313.73 resistance. And then over that, you got 318.5 resistance as well. Top candle. I mean, if we were pushed, then yeah, through that you'll probably see 325s. Look at 325s. That probably is, and that's what probably everyone was looking at. This level right here. But downside, if we can't get over 305 and really hold and push up again, we'll just be coming straight down. You got weekly POC here at 289.89. Below that, not much more until 280.49. This is a very light level. Wouldn't be too concerned. 280.49. Below that, 276. Key zone is going to be between 270 and 266. So definitely note that. If we give that up, we will come right down, possibly eventually to 255.6. I mean, there's resistance, support. Definitely a key level to note. Then you got that weekly POC at 248. That is it for the levels for the 12 stocks that we usually go over. I post this every week on my Twitter. In the Discord, I'm active. I go over the ES levels every night. I have a daily blog, which is part of the focus group, where I give you guys these levels and charts every single night. And that way you can have a game plan to go into the next day trading. You chart out the levels, you do some of the homework yourself. I'm not going to spoon feed you alerts. I don't believe in them, because by the time I alert something, premium's going to be spiked. You're going to then not know when to get out. You're not going to even know why you bought the stock, why I even bought it. I know why I bought it, but you're not going to know why I bought it if you don't have the levels and you don't look for an entry yourself. And that's how people just get bagged and chewed over. So alerts are total bullshit, honestly. Not a big fan of them whatsoever. But that is it for the weekly review. I will see you guys Sunday night in the live stream and show you guys how I do my charting, how I do my levels. That way you can try to learn. Thank you again. Have a great weekend, everyone.